104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports, and now college football is upon us. Sporting News college football insider Bill Bender with us. Bill, a ton of games tonight to kick off college football season. Is Thursday still the best night to do this?
Yes. They shouldn't have done the week 0 thing last week. I think, tonight you get a little bit of a buzz from it. I know, I live in Central Ohio. I know that people are pretty hyped up for Ohio State, obviously, and that Ohio State-Indiana game is going to be fun because not only is it an Ohio State game, it's a Big Ten game to start the season. That's very rare.
So, Bill, with obviously Ohio, you're watching the Ohio State games, the Big Ten stuff, but what is your favorite storyline to start the season?
Well, Alabama, Florida State. We can almost rule that one out as in a separate story. But, Michigan, Florida is going to be a little chippy. Even with the Florida guys out, I think Jim Harbaugh is doing things that he does so well to kind of, move the needle a little bit. And then, I think West Virginia Tech's a really good game on Sunday night. So, from Thursday through Monday, there's absolutely something to watch.
That's your favorite week 1 storyline. How about the overall preseason storyline, whether it be a coach, a player, or a team that you're really intrigued by how they're going to perform in 2017?
I think Texas is a good one with Tom Herman because there's an opportunity for a lot of Big 12 teams. With Bob Stoops out of the way, whether it's Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, whether it's time for Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State to take that next step. There's Kansas State with Bill Snyder. And then I think you got Texas. They're kind of starved for some success. I love the hire to begin with. I'm just wondering how soon they're going to take off with him. I know it's going to happen, and I'm wondering how soon it's going to happen.
Sport News is Bill Bender with us right now at 104.5 The Team, Levack and Goz. So I'm going to get out of the way and let Heisman Boy start peppering you with questions, Bill.
Because here's the thing, man. I'm in the Carrier Dome last year, and I watched Lamar Jackson hurtling over my beloved Syracuse Orange. I was the one on Twitter saying it's the best single athlete performance, dominate-wise by Lamar Jackson I've ever seen, and only you guys at the Sporting News are giving Lamar Jackson love for first-team All-America. Why is Lamar Jackson almost underrated going into this season?
The finish to the year. I think he's being treated unfairly because of that. People looked at Houston, Kentucky, LSU. He even said he was playing with turf toe. I had a chance to sit with him back in July, and yeah, he's an impressive quarterback. And I don't think it's going to take long for him to remind people that, hey, I'm pretty darn good. I went back and watched the Clemson game even, and they were 1 or 2 plays away from beating Clemson, and imagine how that would have changed the tenor of last season. So I think he's great. We have him as a top quarterback for a reason because, he's a defending Heisman Trophy winner. I still think he's the best player in college football.
Bill, if it's not him, though, who is it? My vote's going to Harbaugh, actually.
Jim Harbaugh was going to win the Heisman?
Yes, yeah. Nobody
cool.
rocks khakis like him.
Pretty good. I have to go look back to see if he ever finished in the top 10. He might have when he was at Michigan. But, I think Sam Darnold, Saquon Barkley are 2 guys that definitely fit that description. I like Jalen Hurts because he's set up. He's at Alabama. If they win big in the opener, he'll have an early leg up. I think in that new offensive coordinator, Brian Dable's offense, he's going to put up big numbers. And, Alabama could be 12-0 at the end of the road. So I think Jalen Hurts is a guy to watch. And certainly, but I think certainly you start with that chalk of the guys I already mentioned.
Ton of college football games tonight, so of course we reach out to our man from the inside. Sporting News is Bill Bender right here on 104.5 The Team.
All right, Bill, let's put you on the spot. Way down the line from now, the college football playoff, what 4 teams do you believe will be in those matchups?
Well, I stuck with chalk. I had Alabama and Florida State both in the playoffs, even though they're playing, and I'm kind of writing about that now. But as long as one or the other doesn't get blown out, they're okay. As far as that goes, USC and Ohio State would be the other 2. I think Ohio State's got the most talent in the Big Ten. That's not to say Penn State or Michigan can't challenge them. If any one of those 3 teams won the Big Ten, I wouldn't be surprised. And then USC with Darnold, they're the best bet out of the Pac-12, although I think Washington's kind of we talked about Lamar Jackson. I think Washington's being ignored a little bit too.
Bill Bender with us right now from the Sporting News. So, Bill, I look around and I see names like Art Briles get hired, in Canada and then let go right away. He says he's going to coach again. Can you see any scenario where Art Briles is back in football in any way, shape, or form?
It's going to take a while. I wouldn't let him coach a Power 5 or a Group 5 team. If he catches on assistant down the line, maybe. But, I mean, there's guys are still sorting out the wreckage at Baylor. You know what I mean? Like, that program, Matt Rule, he's not only the football coach. I mean, he's in charge of kind of changing the way they do things and making sure that doesn't happen again. And, you know, I think it speaks to an overall problem in college football where there needs to be more uniform punishment and consistent punishment for players, coaches, and administrators so that that kind of thing doesn't happen. And I think maybe stricter enforcement on that. So, I mean, but then again, we spend our days arguing about that, and then the NFL, you take it up to that level, and the punishments are equally inconsistent. My phone's been dinging all week about Vontez Burfict.
You know, Levack asked you the Art Browns question, that's fine, but he almost let you off the hook about your college football question. I want a national championship game and a national champion. Come on now.
Well, I picked Alabama and USC, which would be somewhat ironic considering last year I sat in Jerry World and watched Alabama beat them by 46 and wondered if USC would ever pick up the pieces, and they sure did. So I think Alabama, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if any of those four teams I mentioned played for it all, and then I think of the teams on the outside looking in, I mean, it's a list that would include Washington, Penn State, Michigan, Oklahoma State, and maybe Auburn. I think Auburn's the one team that can maybe challenge Alabama. I'm not saying they can beat them, but, I mean, if the stars align properly, they might be able to give them a run at the end.
Bill, we've got our midday guy, Roger Weiland, Penn State alum, big homer for Penn State, says they're going to be a top 5 team this year, nationally ranked. Is that true? And can we burn him and say that Michigan will still be better than Penn State?
Well, I'll say this: if Michigan beats Florida on Saturday, which I think they will, it's going to set up a game where I think both teams are undefeated when they play in Happy Valley, and that's a huge spot for the Nittany Lions. They're a really good team. They're going to have, I think, they have the best offense in the Big Ten with Barkley and McSorley and Gesicki and Jawan Johnson. But as you guys would know, I mean, I don't know if you remember this game or not, but I remember Michigan going in there in 1997, and that was the statement victory that, kind of set the tone for a national title season. So I think either way, when they play in Happy Valley, it could be a statement game because both of them know they got to beat Ohio State, but that one comes first.
Bill Bender from the Sporting News. He's our college football insider and still has some mean driveway dunks in him. So we always appreciate you, Bill.
Anytime, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.